Sean, obviously not the start to the season you were hoping for. How big a setback was that?
Oh, it's a setback because we've lost at home, but we don't win anything in September. Well, we didn't win anything in May actually either, but it's an early season blip. It's a bit of rustiness. We forced it a little bit too much, tried to play a little bit too much too early, and Bedford came with a pretty sound game plan and counteracted us a little bit on regard of our turnover. We turned over nearly 40% of the possession we had, dominated possession and territory in the game, and the scoreline and the tries don't reflect the true nature of the game. But look, it is what it is. We're a bit rusty. We've only had one pre-season game. We're the team with the shortest pre-season in world rugby at the moment, but there is no excuses. We've got a long way to go, and we'll improve. So that, we know that.
Yeah. Can you use it strangely to your advantage in a way for the next game in terms of to I suppose give the players a little bit of a jolt into the next game?
Well, it's a fine line, isn't it? We have to, because we go away to a very good side, London Welsh, who were smart in from last season. We're live on television, early season game, they smell blood, and all the cliches are there, so the boys have to respond. We've worked really diligently since the game. The boys are clear about where things have gone wrong, and we've just forced a little bit. It wasn't for the want of trying. They probably tried to express themselves a little bit too much too early in the first half, but when you look at the two halves, 22-6 at half time, with an interception and a turnover try which we gifted Bedford, and in the second half we've won 17-7, and their 7 points have come from another interception in their 22. So we've got to be careful we don't force it too much. We showed in the second half that if we go through a few extra phases with our ball carriers and the shape of our game, that we're particularly dangerous, and it's not like us also not to score from a 5 metre line out. We had 3 opportunities there, so we're probably a little bit rusty in that department as well, but we get it right. Yeah,
and I suppose you already alluded to it a little bit there. Not necessarily the opponent you would pick for your next game, London Welsh.
Oh, there's lots of good opponents in the Championship, and they all want to have a crack at Bristol, don't they? We label the favourites and this, that, and the other, and we just got to carry that. We've got to carry that expectation, and in a way, it's good. It's good to have such a big game with something on it so early in the season. This early in the season last year, we went, I think, 10, 11 games unbeaten. It didn't stand us in much good stead at the end, did it? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that has anything to do with it, but we know where we're at. We've got a lot of players missing. We've got some new players in, and we've got to rebuild and redevelop a little bit, and that takes a bit of time. So we're on that path again, but we'll be right at the end.
Yeah, and what do you make of going now to O'Dear Park as a venue? Obviously they've moved back there now.
I'm looking forward to it. We had some good tussles a couple of years ago with London Welsh. New regime. I used to coach with Roland Phillips many moons ago. He's an astute coach, good rugby man. So you'll have them organised and fired up. They're off the back of a good win in Doncaster, a bonus point win. So we're looking forward to it. It's a chance for the boys to hit a bit of a stage in this competition where you get to be on TV and play a big game. And I think the boys that have been picked are looking forward to put a bit of a record straight.
Yeah, they still got some good players, haven't they, London Welsh? Would they be a team you'd expect to be in the mix come the end of the season?
Oh, definitely. They'll be in the top 3. They'll be in the top 3, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the players they've got, the squad they've got, so I suppose that only puts them in a good position, doesn't it, to have a solid season?
Yeah, and look, they've got a lot to fall back on, haven't they, in terms of spirit. They've got their backs against the wall after what happened last year. They've got that team talk in them. They've probably gone on in the off season and got a bit tighter as a result of it. They've got a bit of a siege mentality. Taking it back to O'Dear Park. Ironically, they probably have more fans there than they did at Oxford, and it's going to be a tough game. And I've watched the Doncaster game. They're very physical. They're very heavy, but like all sides in this division, there are chinks in the armour, and it's up to us to exploit them.
And how's the squad looking going into the weekend?
Yeah, good. No major injury concerns other than Gaston Cortez, who picked up a bit of a hip injury, but we're not that battered because we didn't have to defend too much. We dominated the ball. Bedford in 45 possessions kicked it 33 times. They never got to they got over 3 phases 4 times in the game. So we're still pretty fresh. And I said to the players that if you look at the way the second half developed, we really imposed ourselves physically. We're very powerful, very fit at the moment, and Bedford were on their knees. Just 22-6, you've given somebody a head start, too much of a head start, and we couldn't claw it back. with our lack of execution close to the line. So that's what we've been working on today.
Yeah. Do you feel you owe the fans after the opening weekend?
I think we always owe the fans. I think they come in their numbers and it's up to us to perform for them. We didn't for large periods of last Sunday. So, yeah, we always owe the fans. The boys want to perform for the fans. They know how good they are and they're grateful for them turning up. And look, it's not for the want to try, and I can tell. I always say that because it might come across as a bit laissez-faire. They're giving offloads when they shouldn't, but they're just trying to score. They're trying their best to put a show on, and that's all it is. It's them trying their hardest to do that, and we grew into the game. We just weren't clinical enough at the right time. So, I got a feeling we'll win more games this year than we lose, and let's hope that's good enough to get us in the playoff.
Yeah, and away from here, Matthew Morgan, a chance for him with Wales now, given Lee Halfpenny's injury. If you were Warren Gatland, would you maybe be tempted to put him in at fullback?
Now Lee Halfpenny's not in there. Yeah, Matthew hasn't played a lot of rugby at fullback. He'd probably be more of an impact off the bench. Like we used him either moving from 10 to 15, because when the game breaks up, people get tired. That's where he can really exploit them from the backfield. We brought him to Bristol to learn the game at 10. He's still in the process of doing that. He's still learning the game. But I know Warren's brought him in the squad as a 15, and that's great for Matthew. It won't detract from what we're trying to do with him here. And it'll be a fabulous experience for him. But I would have thought, with his qualities at that stage, he would be coming off the bench to break the game up.
Yeah, do you think he could be a 15 longer term, maybe not necessarily here, but would he make a good 15 on the international stage?
Yeah, Matthew's got real qualities to play 15, wing, 10, probably 9 if you asked him. He's an instinctive rugby player. Space and on the ball is where he's at his best. So I like him at 10 at this moment in the championship because he's on the ball a lot. And every time we play Matthew in a game, we speak to the opposition coaches. They've spoken all week about Matthew Morgan. So, I mean, the chances are if you play him at 15, then early in the game you'd look to target him a little bit, and he's out of the game. But as I said, later on in the game, when the game breaks up and there's more space, people get tired, and that's when he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah, and just finally from me, how did you enjoy Rugby Aid last week?
I did enjoy it, yeah. I would take all that back to have a win against Bedford on Sunday, but the most important thing about that was that we raised a lot of money for Rugby for Heroes, of which I'm an ambassador of the charity. It was a bit surreal to be having a pint with Tinzan Brook and Louis Spence at the same time. Something I would challenge anyone to do. But it was all for a great cause and a good occasion.
Yeah, good luck, Sean. Thanks for your time.